Your shift starts at 7. You sit at a long wooden table with dozens of other young women. In front of you is a tiny brush, a jar of glowing paint, and a stack of watch dials waiting for numbers. You dip the brush. You shape the tip between your lips to make it fine enough for the small numbers. Then you paint. Your supervisor calls it lip dip paint. You do this hundreds of times a day. The paint glows a soft green-white even in daylight. It feels almost magical. You've heard it called liquid sunshine, but the glow isn't sunshine. It's radium. It's 1917, and you work at a dial painting factory in New Jersey. Radium was discovered by Marie Curie less than 20 years ago, and now it's everywhere. Toothpaste, cosmetics, tonic water. Nobody has told you it's dangerous. Why would they? The scientists upstairs, the men who mix the paint, they wear lead aprons and use tongs. You don't. You're told the paint is harmless. Some girls even paint their nails with it for fun on a Friday night, so their hands glow when they walk home in the dark. You're paid by the piece, not the hour. The faster you paint, the more you earn. Fine tipping your brush with your lips saves time. Wetting it with a rag would slow you down, so you keep doing it. Lip, dip, paint. Every stroke puts a small amount of radium into your mouth. Radium behaves like calcium in the body. Your bones don't know the difference. So when radium enters your bloodstream, it heads straight for your skeleton and stays there. It doesn't pass through and leave. It embeds. And once it's in your jaw, your spine, your hip, it starts emitting radiation from the inside. At first, nothing seems wrong. You feel healthy. You keep working. Some of your coworkers even joke that the job makes their teeth sparkle. Then, a few years in, the symptoms start. A dull ache in your jaw, a tooth that won't stop hurting. You go to the dentist, and he pulls the tooth, but the socket doesn't heal. It just keeps aching, and the bone underneath starts to look strange, almost sponge-like, in a way your dentist has never seen before. This is what will later be called radium jaw. Your jawbone, weakened by radiation eating away at it from within, begins to fracture on its own. Some women lose pieces of their jaw simply from talking or chewing. Doctors are baffled. Radium is marketed as a health tonic at this exact moment. How could something sold as medicine be doing this? By 1922, dial painters across New Jersey, Illinois, and Connecticut are getting sick with the same mysterious symptoms. Anemia, bone fractures that appear without injury, jaw infections that never heal. A dentist named Theodore Blum starts to suspect a connection, but the companies deny it. They tell you the illness must be unrelated. Maybe it's syphilis, they suggest to discourage sympathy. You know that isn't true. You didn't get sick from anything you did outside this building. You got sick from the thing they told you was safe to put in your mouth. You aren't alone in questioning it. A group of your coworkers, women who will later be known as the Radium Girls, start comparing notes. They realize the illness isn't random. It's following the exact women who painted dials the longest. In 1925, a scientist named Harrison Martland develops a way to measure radiation inside a living body for the first time, using breath tests to detect radon gas, a decay product of radium, coming from the women's own exhaled air. His findings confirm what the company spent years denying. The radium is inside you, and it isn't leaving. By the late 1920s, 5 of the sickest women, all from a factory in Orange, New Jersey, decide to sue. The press calls them the Radium Girls, but at the time, they are property clerks, factory workers, daughters supporting their families. Their case moves slowly because they are dying while it does. One of them, Grace Fryer, has to fight for 2 years just to find a lawyer willing to take on a powerful company. When the case finally settles in 1928, it isn't really a victory. It's survival money, medical costs, a small monthly payment for whatever years remain, but the case changes everything after it. It becomes one of the first in American history to establish that a corporation can be held legally responsible for occupational disease, not just workplace accidents. It leads directly to new labor safety standards and influences the creation of stronger industrial hygiene regulation in the following decades. The dial painters who suffered helped build the legal foundation for the idea that a job shouldn't quietly kill the people who do it. Radium dial painting didn't stop immediately, but the practice of lip-pointing brushes was banned. Safety standards for radioactive materials in consumer products tightened, and an entire field, health physics, the study of radiation safety, grew directly out of what happened to you and the women beside you at that table. Here's the strange twist. Some of the Radium Girls are so contaminated that decades after their deaths, their remains still register as radioactive on a Geiger counter. Grace Fryer's body, when exhumed for study, still carried detectable radium in her bones, proof strong enough to inform radiation safety research for years afterward. Their bodies became scientific evidence that outlived them. You didn't know, on that first morning, shaping a wet brush tip on your lips, that you were absorbing a substance that would embed itself in your bones for the rest of your life. Nobody did, not fully. But the ache in your jaw, the ache your dentist couldn't explain, became one of the reasons workplace safety laws exist today. Every time a modern worker is told to wear a badge that monitors radiation exposure, or a warning label lists a chemical hazard clearly on a package, it traces back, in part, to a room full of young women who were told their paint was liquid sunshine. The glow felt magical, until it wasn't. And it took your body catching fire from the inside to make the world finally believe you.